All right, let's dive right in. Today we're unpacking the big ideas from a really powerful book by Mohammad Raj Abdullah called Put Them in Boxes. It's a story that's all about a restless city, a cunning empire, and a simple three-word phrase that becomes a terrifying blueprint for control.
So picture this, a sprawling Roman-style empire. The city's on edge, and scrawled on these crumbling walls, you see this one phrase popping up everywhere: put them in boxes. What's wild is that this message has a double life. It was actually coined by the ruling empire as a strategy, but now it's being whispered by the people as an act of defiance.
And right there, that's the heart of what we're digging into. What happens when a simple slogan, just a piece of graffiti, becomes a full-blown political strategy? I mean, this isn't just words on a wall anymore. In this story, it's a calculated method for engineering an entire society and crushing dissent. So how does it actually work?
Okay, so to really get how this strategy takes hold, we've got to back up a bit. It doesn't start with force, no. It starts with something way more clever, a strategy of pacification, which the author perfectly calls the oldest bribe in history.
So, the scene is just simmering with discontent, you know? You've got people clutching these old clay bowls, stuck in these massive lines, just waiting for a bit of stale bread and watery soup. This is the powder keg the empire knows it has to defuse before the whole thing blows.
And this is where we meet our main architect of control, Governor Maximus Titan. His philosophy? It's cynical, for sure, but man is it effective. He doesn't see their hunger as a problem to be solved. Nope, he sees it as a lever to be pulled.
So here's his playbook, his two-pronged attack on the public's mind. Step 1, fill their bellies, just enough to keep them from rioting. Step 2, distract them, give them these massive, bloody spectacles in the arena. His whole bet is that if people are fed and entertained, they'll completely forget they're living in chains.
But, just giving out bread in circuses, that only gets you so far. People are smart. They naturally start forming groups, sharing ideas. And the empire knows this, so they level up. They build on this foundation with their master stroke, the philosophy of the box. This is your classic divide and conquer.
See? The empire gets it. The real danger isn't empty stomachs, it's united minds. People are starting to find each other, to organize around shared beliefs. You've got your philosophers here, your monotheists there, some nationalists over here. To the empire, every single one of these groups is a potential spark for a full-blown rebellion.
But here's what's so genius, in a twisted way, about Maximus's thinking. He doesn't see these groups as something to just smash. No way. He sees them as an opportunity. His solution? Lean right into the division. He says, perfect, let's label them, let's define them, and then let's make them hate each other.
And just like that, the graffiti on the wall transforms into a cold, calculated three-step strategy. First, you label. You're this, you're that. Create these neat little categories for everyone. Second, you segregate. You physically and socially pull them apart based on those new labels. And then, the final move, you incite. You poke and prod until the boxes start fighting each other. Why? Because if they're busy fighting amongst themselves, they'll never see who's really pulling the strings, the empire.
And get this isn't some secret plan whispered in the shadows. Oh no, this becomes official state policy, announced right out in the open for everyone to hear.
And then the decrees start rolling out, one after another, each one building the walls of their new boxes. All of a sudden, your political beliefs mean you can only gather in one specific part of the city.
Then it's your faith. Now you have to register with some Office of Ideological Safety. Your belief system just became a bureaucratic file.
And finally, even just talking, debating ideas, that gets shut down too, confined to sanctioned zones. They're literally boxing up the way people think.
And this really gets the heart of the empire's control. It's not about building physical prisons, it's about building prisons in the mind. There's this great line from a merchant in the story who just sees it all so clearly. He says the people have started fighting over who gets a bigger cage, and they've completely forgotten that they're all caged.
But, and there's always a but, right? Where you find oppression, you will always find resistance. And this isn't a resistance that tries to fight the empire with its own weapons. It's about rejecting the entire game.
So deep beneath the city streets, in these dark, forgotten aqueducts, a different idea starts to take root, a counter-movement, and it's led by a man named Khalid ibn Masud. And their weapon? It's not a sword, it's an idea, a radically different one.
And right here, you can see the two worldviews clash. It's so clear.
On one side, you have the empire's labels, all designed to divide people. What you believe, what tribe you're from, what you look like, what language you speak, all of it is just a tool to create suspicion. But the resistance, their truth, offers something completely different. That underneath all of those fake, man-made labels, we are all just one soul.
This is the heart of their rebellion. It's a direct shot at the governor's whole strategy. It says, go ahead, put us in your boxes, you can't box our souls. It's this powerful declaration that who they really are goes way beyond any label the empire could ever slap on them.
Now, this clash of ideas, it doesn't lead to some easy, clean victory. Not at all. Instead, the story really frames this whole struggle as this deep, difficult test of what you truly believe in. It's about understanding what it really costs to hold on to the truth.
And Solid, he shares this incredibly powerful metaphor. Citing the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he says that a time will come when just holding on to the truth, it's going to be like holding a burning piece of coal. In a world that is working overtime to divide you, to confuse you, to hide what's real, just clinging to a simple unifying truth is going to be painful. It's going to burn, but it's a burn you have to be willing to endure.
And really, that's what this whole story leaves us with. The tale of Governor Maximus and Khalid ibn Masud, it's more than just a story, right? It's a powerful allegory. And it forces us to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, when the world tries to put you in a box, when it tries to label you and categorize you, what is that deeper truth that you choose to hold on to, even if it feels like holding a burning coal?